Greetings, everyone. We are Chase Coach, and we have some important message for everyone. I think at this moment in history, humans have to introspect and look back where they're coming from to understand what they don't want to repeat in the future. Humans have been fighting wars since the inception of mankind on Earth. Like the entire history is filled with stories about wars, and it's almost like humans are not getting the message that war won't solve anything, and they keep trying to repeat the past, thinking they still have to conquer someone to, get what they want. And if you play back to all the civilizations, because this is the sixth civilization of human experience on this planet, the past five destroyed themselves and destroyed the ecosystem, and this is the sixth one since 2012. Now, the fifth civilization was expected to have, become extinct, and that was the prediction and the prophecy with your religious scripts, but that didn't happen because something else took charge of the situation, and that's human consciousness. The funny thing is, the humans are not aware of anything about their consciousness, but they feel that they have to, create and incite these laws and programs and indoctrination and things that humans have to go through and have to obey. If not, they will be sentenced to prison. It's all the ideas that humans have been used to in the old world is always reductive, limited, and that diabolic. So humans are right now shifting away from this old world and this old paradigm to a new environment with harmony and higher awareness and higher vibration, fun and happiness, excitement, peace, bliss, and all this lovely stuff. So understanding that this is where humans are going to will help people stop resisting the change that's happening right now, the change that are occurring on the planet, or a good one, to aid humans, assist humans ascend. And there are many plethora of things regarding the spiritual awareness and the spiritual awakening that many humans tend not to understand. So we try to demystify that in this moment now. Humans are not aware of what the soul is. Neither are they aware of where they are. Neither are they aware of the gravity. They don't know what gravity is. They don't know basically about 90% of their reality. Yet, they have a definite, absolute conclusion about what God is, what God likes, what has to happen for God to be happy. Like, this is primitive ideas. These are just silly shenanigans that limited minds can create. It's retarded. It's reductive. It's small, very small. It's myopic, and we're trying to expand the awareness of citizens and humans at this time, so they tend to understand that you're in a learning space. You don't have mentally what it takes to go to where you don't know you've been before. You don't even know why you're here. And these things are things that humans have to learn afresh, because everything is changing. Everything. Because think about it. Think about your government. Your government is an institution or an organization that get humans on the planet, incorporate them with the system, and tell them what they have to do without any philosophy about life, without any understanding about what they are or where they're coming from. You give them a book, a 4,000-year-old book that's talking about ancient events and different things that many people cannot understand. That may seem as metaphoric, but it's basically just an interpretation of things primitive humans witnessed in their time. So it's basically a history from the mind of a primitive human, and that's what humans have, ushered to themselves as a manual, as a way of life, as a doctrine, and they be following this spiritual route for years, and they've created their philosophies and their ideas and their systems based on this limited idea of what they think God should represent, or if there is one, if you understand how the nature of consciousness works. Now, to further demystify the situation, we have to reveal what humans are already used to, so you can then understand if this is something you want to continue. Now, the soul is an electromagnetic field, power, whatever, an energy, a quantum energy field. Now, based on your recycle or revolution as a soul energy, based on the experience of that soul, you tend to learn certain different aspects, and these things that the soul have learned being I like the planet is a place where the soul carry out the knowledge that it has accumulated over the time of reincarnation and recycling and repeating and going over and over again into this experience on this planet, another dimension. So all the whole ideas that the soul have, the knowledge the soul has gained, and the soul then comes to a planet or stimulations or reality to then exhibit these ideas and help the ecosystem of that civilization or the collective consciousness. So this is where you come to notice that there are some children who just happen to know how to play keyboard. The children who just know how to do things naturally, and that's because it's not the first time that they're on this planet. Neither is it the first time they've been on another planet, and there are certain things that are familiar to every soul, including yourself watching this right now. And that's why you're able to identify that perhaps that the way of the world is missing something, and if you're thinking that way, you're correct. Now, understanding what the soul is, understanding the matrix of consciousness, understanding the nature of your reality, it makes it easier for you to, coexist, co-create, and experience reality without any resistance, without any struggle, without any despair. And this is how what the philosophy that humans are supposed to have, you know, been groomed with. Like, you should know all these things since you're a child about the nature of consciousness. As a child, you should know what you are, who you are, what you're doing on this planet, your purpose, and the quantum field is something that humans ought to be familiar with since millennia. And they've been fighting all these years, and nobody has actually asked the question. But they sense that something is missing. Yes, and you're correct. Now, this is what we're introducing to humans, and it's light that needs to be shown across the whole planet, so humans can then, grow up and join the galactic family and see how far they're willing to go in this biological, physical reality. Your soul. Let's demystify this, okay? Pay attention. Your soul is an electromagnetic quantum field energy that's been projected into your biological instrument so you can use that to perceive and interpret reality based on what you're willing to allow, because you have free will, and your free will is it's kind of is an autonomy that you have to decide if you want to live life based on your soul memory, or if you want to live life based on your biological memory. And most people are living life based on the biological memory, which is kind of a database of information that was constructed by their government complex or organized organizations and institutions to indoctrinate humans, not even tell them, indoctrinate them about a way of life. And if they don't follow a certain model, they will go to jail. Following on that same format, it's the same idea that the religious system operates under. If you do not obey God, you will go to hell. If you do not obey the government, you will go to prison. You see, it's still the same motto that they're using, and it's not electric. Meanwhile, the soul is an electromagnetic energy. You are a multidimensional entity. It's There are no words for it. Humans don't have words, but as time goes on, we'll create words for it. You're a manifestation of divine, and based on what you allow, you will be able to experience reality to the quarter of that divine energy that you're made of. Say, for instance, you start using your soul memory, you gain access to your divine blueprint. But if you choose to go by your biological memory, then you're left with the things that you were told, the ideas that your parents told you. Many of you, whatever religious creed that you're following, is because your parents indoctrinated you into it. If you were born and raised in a Muslim family, you perhaps are a Muslim. If you were born and raised in a Catholic family, perhaps you're a Catholic. And these ideas are things that kind of you just grew an attachment towards it without even understanding what this is about. And within the ages of 0 to 7 years old, that's when the child is like a magnet and pick up many information. And many people picked up the information that the parents fed to them, and the parents not even being fully aware of what they're indoctrinating their children with, but they're doing it out of love. And it's because it's the same ideas that they grew up with, and they feel it's the right thing to do. However, it's just still limited to the biological instrument. And once humans start shifting into their soul memory, that's when you get, let's say, you get the optimized energy necessary to be able to think beyond the cage, this myopic sense of reasoning, this matrix that humans have created for themselves. your biological instrument, your biological memory doesn't have the capacity within itself to understand the nature of reality. You need to use your soul memory to understand it, because your soul memory, it's beyond, it's beyond the physical, because the biological instrument is simply a byproduct of your soul energy. It's a byproduct of the physics. So basically, biological is a byproduct of physics, and your body, your physical vessel, is merely a shadow of yourself. So when you stick into the biological memory, you're limiting yourself to just what you were indoctrinated, what you were told, how you were sampled and instructed to live, as opposed to what your soul wants for you, which is like the maximum experience of life, the maximum ecstasy, the love, the peace, the intelligence. These are all things that your soul offer, because you are a piece of the vine. So you can imagine how intelligent you think God is. And when you become, wise enough to understand this, you then start seeing what humans call God as not something that's outside the human experience, as opposed to praying to and kneeling to it. And you just need to align yourself and switch to the soul memory and become that divine magnetic energy that you really are on a deeper level. So this is what humans should understand and be seeking, should be sought out for. The wisdom should be sought out for, because that therein lies all the solution to every human distortion. As your religious script says, seek first the kingdom of God and everything will be added to you. And that means seek enlightenment and everything will be added. And it's just logical. You have people in the government who are not aware of the nature of consciousness, not aware of what they even call gravity. And they don't even understand how the biological instrument work. They just have a book and a law that they have to control people and instruct them on things to do. And if they don't do that, you throw them into a prison. Why aren't they trying to like help people? If someone breaks the law, why are you not like trying to you know help them, teach them, groom them, rehabilitate them if they're having some psychosis, as opposed to just locking them down for a certain period of time that suits the certain people who are in the jury, and just based on whatever the people who colonized you told you to do. It's so tiny. You are a divine expression on this planet, and you should believe in life to the maximum, not to something limited, guided, and instructed and permitted by a bunch of people who were told what to do. It's just really myopic. So, understanding what your consciousness is and your soul energy is what's powering your consciousness. You tend to look at reality from a different perspective. And this is it here. When humans start evolving to a certain level, there are certain access points on your body, what you call chakras, the energy centers, from down your spine to the top crown of your head. So once humans start shifting into the soul memory, the soul energy, this is the things that begin to occur. You start, it becomes kind of, it's kind of a rough experience at the beginning, because it's kind of like the death of your ego, the death of your identity. That's why if you notice children, they, when you like say a child name is Paul, and the little child, if you notice children, they call themselves their name, like mommy, mommy, Paul is hungry, and they're talking about themselves. And this is the reason, because the child at that age is really entangled with the biological instrument, like operating the biological instrument from outside, because all their chakras are aligned and they're in the natural order before you start injecting them with poisonous toxins and bad food and all these whole things that then shut off the energy centers. So awakening and the ascension is a process whereby you reawaken your chakra systems and then start operating from the divine flow of cosmic lights, and knowing, just knowing everything. You don't have to question what's my purpose, what's this, what's that. You just know what to do. You just experience in life. You're observing your higher self live life on your behalf. So literally you're just chilled, and your higher self is doing all the work for you. That's basically how the human instrument is designed, but it's only human when it's biological, limited to the biological experience alone. Once you shift into the soul energy, you become something else. And this is what the ascension is. That's how you ascend. You shift from what you used to be to what you didn't know you already are. It's twisted in a way, but it's easier to understand from experience. So what happens is that these humans are then, you know, raised in a way that they are dysfunctional to themselves, and they block all these energy centers, the chakras in your body. They block it with believing in limited ideas. This limited belief system is kind of you going against the flow, deciding with your free will that you do not want to go with the flow of the universal stream. You want to go, like, you want to fly solo. And free will, it's love and understanding that, okay, each human have the freedom to experience reality on different spectrum. So when you decide to uh, go solo and you start acting based on limited ideas are designed to keep humans limited, because it's cleverly constructed. These things are not just coincidental. So when you when you reduce your experience to limited ideas and you start believing in things that are not the way, you create a blockage in the energy centers, blocking the way for the cosmic light to pass through you. And this is what creates the negative experience that humans have, because they have block chakras and block energy centers. They start thinking based on the energy centers that they're using. Say, for instance, basically you start from the root chakra, and that's like the base energy center for each human to, you know, perceive and interact with reality from that energy center. And from the root chakra, root energy center, that root chakra is for survival, understanding, awareness, and basically the basic aspect of the human energy center is at the root chakra. And that's the base that what most humans are operating as perceiving reality from. It's the base that's connected to the reptilian brain, that's just based on fight or flight mode. And if you understand, notice that this is why psychologists only just speak about fight or flight mode. There's only like two, there's this binary loop. You're either going forward or you're going backward. The quantumness of the human experience is not introduced into the human reality. These things are kept away from you until now that we've been sharing this to you, and we will have to expand on this furthermore. We're just kind of reviewing and, you know, kind of touching base so it's easier for people to understand how this works, because it's a complex thing that humans should have noticed for a long time. So it's not too late to catch up with your divine self. It's not too late to become who you're really designed to be, your best self, your higher self. It's not too late. And these are the practices that we'll be sharing as time goes on, 'cause it's a plethora of information. So understanding that you basically believe in something that's limiting your the spin of your energy centers, which is then limited your imagination of what reality is, because from all the way after the root chakra they have the sacral chakra, you have the solar plexus. These are basically, like, think of it like tiny brains that your brains, you know, drag information from. Just think about it. And the energies, cosmic energy, flow through your body when you align, and then fill up all these energy centers with information and light and energy and frequencies and feelings and emotions and signatures that your brain can then interpret and start having new ideas. And when the energy center goes all the way to the third eye, your imagination opens in such a way that you can experience reality vividly, like very lucid, like you're experiencing reality and living a dream in a dream, and you're conscious of all experience on all levels, and you are not just seeing reality as, it's hard to explain. You're not just seeing reality in the solid form, you're seeing reality in the solid and the quantum form. And you don't just see one thing as what it is, you see it as all it is. So you see a human and you see all their experience, you see them and you really see them, you see through them. So these are the things that human energies start awakening once you start ascending. And the process of ascending is going through the processes of awakening these energy centers and then perceiving reality from a higher energy center outside beyond the root chakra alone. Because once the root chakra is necessary so you can protect yourself. However, it just keeps you limited to fight or flight mode, fight or flight mode. You're not thinking about grandiose ideas. You're not thinking about things that are, not just one dimensional. You're not thinking about good and bad. You're thinking beyond. Because once you're open your energy centers all the way to your crown chakras and you remove all the blockages, you are God. Period. Period. The feeling that we speak from experience. The feeling everything, the knowing is like, think about it. How else do we know what we're telling you? So it takes a while. It's not something that happens quick, and the process can be very, very kind of a bit depressing at the beginning stage because you become responsible for your light. You become responsible for your light body. You become responsible for your experience. So that way you heal yourself. You're in control of your experience. No one can come into your reality and then try to take something from you. There's no sense of any demon coming to get you or any hell and any of all that whole shenanigans. But first, you have to awaken the soul quantum energy that you possess. You possess it, you got it, but you just don't know about it. And this is the thing that we're trying to warn humans very long time ago, not to follow these governmental ideas and just walk on your spiritual self. And they refuse the information from us and they followed up with this system of the government, and boom, 16,000 years later, this is now that we are sharing this information with humans in a way that they can understand. And many of you still don't get it. So we will repeat this in different ways and keep sharing it till you get the message. But many of you do get the message. And that's the message. But there will be more. We love you all so much. And keep your heads up because the old world is dead and gone. This is a new world. You're in my world now. We love you. Namaste.